Gentlemen, hey, there's a conversation I want to have here. Just bear with me. I'm using one hand. Yeah, I fucked up my hand. Had surgery and. Gentlemen, there's a conversation here that I'm having with my younger brother, and it's from a lot of conversations I've had with women. I manage portfolios, client portfolios, and I think the common concern that ladies have is, so what's gonna happen when I get married? What happens to my investment portfolio when I get married? I just wanna sit here near my roses. And the common thing that I always say to them is, well, the same thing that happens to your retirement annuity, because the underlying question that they have is, yes, I have you managing my finances right now. What's gonna happen when I have someone in my life, and the understanding there being, once they have someone in their life, obviously it's gonna be awkward that another man is managing their finances. And I'm not talking personal finances, so I don't know what your woman's budget looks like monthly, buying toiletries, that sort of stuff. So it's not that, it's the actual market. So America bombs Iran retaliates, and money must move, or money moves from investments, these investments to those investments, that sort of thing. 3 years down the line, I want to buy property. I saw an article that says single women are the biggest buyers of property in South Africa. So I'm like, look, the mere fact that you're paying me for this job means I've got a skill that it's a high skill. It's a finance skill. In this case, it's a finance skill that isn't readily available to any and everybody in the country, And just because you got married or just because you fell in love doesn't automatically mean the person you fell in love with possesses those skills by virtue of being a man. Competence is not, is it sexually transmitted? It's also not transmitted. It's not by male female transmission. You're not competent in investments just because now you're somebody's husband or boyfriend. And for the first few times I had to say that, I felt because it was like, man, I don't want to be in another man's business and that sort of thing. The whole bro code, I'm there, and it's like but it's a reality. It's a reality, and the bigger my practice has grown, the more steadfast I've been in it. I manage close to, I think, 3 million rands now in personal finances of people. And I was looking this week, I moved close to 400,000 rands in investments from this client to that. From this share to that share, this move to that move, in anticipation of what markets are doing and what markets are gonna do. And I was sitting there thinking, oh man, oh my word, but it's fine. And I was sitting there thinking to myself, how do we navigate this? How do we handle this situation? Let me just pause. Yeah, guys, just bear with me. From somewhere. But yeah, the conversation holds, guys. So I sat there, and some of my clients, I first asked them, so is it the same with doctors then? For example, a gynae, for those that already have gynaes, do you have the same conversation with the gynae to say what's gonna happen to our relationship once I get a man or once I get married? The idea being, your man's not gonna all of a sudden develop gynecological expertise, and therefore be your yonkinto in that regard. Tax experts, for example, if you use a tax practitioner for your finances, is your man all of a sudden going to become a tax expert? But it then showed me like the disparities between us men and women, you know. By the time a woman gets married, because we're staying single longer because of all of this, she then learns to figure out so many things using men that get paid for these services, men and women, to be honest. But for now I say men because I'm a man with 15 years experience, and I don't know any other woman with the same investing experience that does what I do. In fact, I don't know another man. So it's a double whammy on that front, that there's no other man, no woman that is doing what I'm doing as far as I'm concerned, you know. So I sat there thinking, you know, by the time the average, let's say 30-year-old woman gets married, and I've spoken to her, you know, she's got so many gents that are helping her around with this or that, you know, those male friends that we don't like. Sorry guys, I can't find a good angle. You know, those male friends or male besties that we don't like, right? She's got so many of them that how are you gonna do away with them? You know, I'm curious, gents, in the chats, how are you gonna do away with them? Let me also show you how tough or how serious the situation is based on just based on an example, you know. So a lot of women as well, single women, so I also have single mothers as friends and also as clients, right? I've had the privilege of seeing their daughters grow up, you know. And I'll take my little sister, but she's 10, 11. She's already swimming at pre-Olympic level, you know. Her report card is straight 7s, straight A's, maths, life science, whatever. You look at the games that she plays with. As early as 2, she was playing with household games. So your kitchen board, your meal preps, those sort of things, like, you know, washing the dishes. And a lot of it comes from mimicking her mother, what her mother does. Remember, dad wakes up in the morning and goes to work. And then as a girl and as a boy, you left with your mother. And normally what do? The boy, you go outside, you play. Girls, yes, they go outside, they play, but they tend to want to mimic their mothers, you know. And mimicking your mom as a girl, it means that you're gonna get a play Barbie doll, play baby. How many of you guys have got daughters and you're already grandfathers because your daughters have got a Barbie doll that she plays with, you know? Then from there, it's the kitchenette. It's the Barbie, you know, the Barbie tinsel. So it's the skate, whatever. It's the this, it's the that, right? When they go into the iPad games, I remember one time my little sister was playing a game on the iPad, and she had a house that she had decorated, and it was in a city, and she was even now running for mayor of that city and all these things. And I remember saying to her, she was 8 at the time, I remember saying to her, okay, so you're the mayor of this city? And she's like, yes. And then I'm like, okay, it's like, where's your house? She's like, I've got 3. So I've got one on this side of town. This one I live with my family in it. Your family? That's interesting. Who's in your family? It's my child and I. It's like, where's your husband? Then she was like, I don't know. Because the game setting didn't come with a husband, you know? And I understand why. Because you're dealing with a child. So maybe they want to mimic the fact that she plays with dolls in real life. But at the same time, she wouldn't necessarily have the maturity to handle the relationship in that regard. But what struck me was she's running a household all by herself, you know. So I was like, take me around the city. So she's like, here I've got my business that pays for whatever, what, it gives me money. Here I own a shopping mall. Here I'm doing this, here I'm doing that. So she even understands that she must work so that she must make money, you know. And she goes through this whole world that she spends so much time in on her iPad, you know. And I'm sitting there thinking, the male equivalent is not playing this, you know. I remember the closest I got to that was playing San Andreas, GTA, Grand Theft Auto, you know. But already from the start, Grand Theft Auto, it's a game where for me to get a foot in the economic world, I must rob someone, fulfill all these missions that are not available to the everyday boy, and then I can start making money. You know, you're running routes, you become a certain level, mission accomplisher, whatnot. It's been years since I've played it, so if you wanna judge me, judge away, because the conversation we're talking about is quite huge, you know. Such that if I win San Andreas, if I win GTA, Grand Theft Auto, not much of it is really transferable into real life. Like, none of us are thugs. None of us can drive a car the way we like and get away with it. None of us can successfully evade a police chase. You get what I'm saying? So it speaks to my testosterone, but like, it's non-transferable. Whereas the average girl, by the time she's 7 years old, I kid you not, by the time she's 7 years old, she knows how to read and write. She knows how to sit in class and focus. She knows how to navigate a potential world that's coming. And she knows why she's sitting there. Jayam, that's grade 1. That's grade 1. I'm talking, that's the grade where, I remember, I don't even remember, but I know for a fact, that's the grade and that's the age where you're losing your jerseys. You coming, they buy you soccer boots, you throw them away. You're still obsessed with Messi, Ronaldo. You get what I'm saying? It's that sort of thing. There's no real competitiveness that I can engage with. And I think I remember, those of you that can, I remember saying this week to one of my friends that has a daughter, I was like, tell me, the boy equivalent of your daughter, is he as proficient and as eloquent as your daughter is, as everything as your daughter is? Like, I remember she was chastising the daughter and she was like, I think the daughter lost something. She's like, why do you think I would have it? Didn't you go to school with it? I did. So why do you automatically assume mommy has it if you were the last one to be with it? And then they're like, so what you actually mean is, help me look for it. Not that I have it and it's my fault and you start crying. And the child was like, oh yeah, yes. Oh no, mommy, can you help me look for it? And I was like, that's an adult conversation. Like, that's her seeing the error in her logic, but then also correcting it. Versus a boy child is just gonna come crying and gonna be like, oh, cute, like, who did what to you? What, you know? That's a guy. That's how we develop a guy, you know? And if you're lucky, you gain domain expertise. You guys know this. Will Trey Tate and Drew Tate have taken you through this. You gain domain expertise. You become an expert in one thing. If you like, and I say if you like, because I see a lot of gents that don't qualify. Remember, based on then how you go through your schooling, how you go through varsity, whatever, most guys don't even qualify for varsity. You're not in your top 10 at school. I was in school and I remember for many years I was the only guy in the top 10, or maybe there were 2 or 3 guys in the top 10. The rest were women. The rest were girls. And even in class, the rest of the girls that were average, still, when I got to varsity, I bumped into them there. The gents that were average, I don't know where they went. I don't know where average gents go, you know? Gents, if you're average, where do you go? So that's more falling off, you know? Sharp. Eventually, you become an expert in something, but you become a subject matter expert. And I think for me, this is where this book comes in. You see how huge this book is? Nah? Woman's World is the name of this book. That's the title. And it was written by this lady. It was a group of authors or journalists. And I'll tell you how it came about. Aline Jukes. Edited by Aline Jukes. Right? Where this book comes from. And I'll read for you the preface of the book just now when I park, right? But for now I'll paraphrase my understanding of it, because I've had this book for more than 10 years now. The idea of this book, this lady says it was written in 1958, so that's basically 70 years ago, if my math is correct. Yeah, 70 years ago, 68 years ago, right? This lady then already was complaining, So you get universities that prepare men. Remember the time that they were in. You get universities that prepare men to be CEOs and CFOs. You get universities that prepare men to be doctors, to be engineers, to be all these skills that help them earn an income and be good at their expertise, right? So even if you do your N levels and you learn how to be a technician, electrician, a plumber, you name it, you go to a school that helps you hone those skills. And she was complaining that, but behind, when you listen to the speeches of their success, behind all of these men, they always say is a woman, you know? And she doesn't know of many women's schools. And after this, finishing school started becoming a thing, and whatever, yeah. And for a while, we had a period where finishing schools, as I say, they were promulgated, and women would go to finishing schools. But that has since disappeared, or whether it's still there, it happens in the home actually, right? And she was advocating for a certain specialization for being a woman. Like, being a woman should come with a manual. And she said she gathered a couple of journalists, and those journalists were basically going to draw up the syllabus of what it takes to be a woman in 1958. And this book is a result. So do you see how big the book is? It's like a medicine textbook, you know? It's like those IFRA standards that you guys read to become a chartered accountant. It's not a small book at all. And befittingly, that is what it took to be a woman in 1958. And what scares me, or what then brought me to this conversation with you guys, is the fact that that hasn't changed. But over and above that, women have then gotten access to schooling and. So now you have that same book in your woman's head, and on top of that, she has to be an electrician, or she has to be an accountant, or she has to be a boss babe, you know, you name it. Basically, the requirement for being a woman never changed. Just